Few actors are as fun to watch as Philip Seymour Hoffman. Over the course of his career, he gave us an amazing array of unforgettable characters. From the vulnerable,
Oh, fucking idiot.
to the charismatic,
Thank you.
to the downright disturbed.
Go fuck yourself, you fucking child.
Unfortunately, Hoffman's remarkable life and career would come to an abrupt end on Superbowl Sunday, 2014. Few people knew the extent of his inner struggles, and by the end, he was too far gone to be saved. Hear the full story today on Death and Entertainment.
Live from Los Angeles.
911, what is your emergency?
Here in Hollywood now.
2 counts of murder.
Injury and death.
Shocking new details.
That has stunned the entertainment world.
This makes me a little nervous.
The hair stood up on my arms.
Just like in the movies.
What do you call this thing anyway?
Death.
In
Entertainment.
And hello to everybody out there.
We came back.
Welcome.
We're back another week.
Look who it is. It's us, motherfuckers.
Get ready, deados,
Yeah.
because we are going into it this week with a legendary story about Philip Seymour Hoffman. My name is Kyle Plouffe.
My name is Mark Mulcairn.
And I'm Alejandro Dowling.
And yeah, this is a heavy one.
Yeah, very, very sad moment in acting in Broadway history
Yeah.
here.
So get ready, everybody. Get some tissues.
Yep.
Get ready to laugh a little bit. And we are heading to February 2nd, 2014.
Let's get in there.
All right. February 2nd, 2014. Mark, what is going on in the world of the pop culture?
Oh, Kyle, I'm so glad you asked. Right now, which is, my wheelhouse here, is on Broadway. Let's find out what's hot on Broadway right now.
What's hot? What's not?
Well, it's Philip Seymour Hoffman, so it's very important we talk about Broadway here, of course, because he was like the king of Broadway during his time.
Hell yeah.
This show called Beautiful, the Carole King musical, which is pretty self-explanatory. I don't think that song is involved in it.
One of the few songs she did not write.
Yeah. Probably You're So Vain would be a big one, though. That's the one that people say is about Nixon that was sang by Carole King.
Carly Simon.
Oh, wait a second.
Hey,
Never mind.
2 songs that have nothing to do with
Let me
this.
get another take. No, just kidding. Let's
There's a
keep
few
it.
on the poster there. It says, what? The Postman?
Natural Woman, The Locomotion.
Natural woman. Does that make up for my Carly Simon thing?
Yeah.
Come on, baby, do the locomotion.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a big one.
Imagine those royalties.
Be nice.
Yeah, I can smell the money from here. Yeah, that's always good though when you your songs live on. Everyone goes to Broadway now. Like I swear they're gonna bring Mortal Kombat to Broadway or something. It's just it's where you go to bring your IP to squeeze more money out of it.
My racist uncle goes to Broadway now.
Oh yeah.
Fox News, the musical.
Yeah, Sean Gutfeld the musical or whatever that guy's name is.
It's like throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks.
Yeah.
They will turn everything into a show, and only a few of them become successful.
Well, we've talked about Waitress. Yeah, that became profitable, but it still got canceled or something.
But it's one of the lucky ones.
And
it toured and
that's
made
true.
a lot of money thus far.
They're definitely in the black on that one. But the Spider-Man one with it killed 5 people.
Yeah.
That did not go forward.
Yeah, Bono and the Edge were seen running out the back of the
Yeah,
the theater.
they're running to the war front of Ukraine after that. Yeah. They're running towards the war now.
We've got to go to Sarajevo.
Yeah. It's more safe than this.
It was so traumatic. They want to collaborate with Ben Affleck now.
Yeah. And do something horrible.
Yeah.
Do a Dunkin' Donuts commercial, maybe. Next up, Outside Mullingar. Outside Mullingar.
What'd you call me?
It stars Deborah Messing as an eccentric Irish woman, which is what we all wanted our entire lives. Written by John Patrick Shanley, which actually makes a lot of sense because he also wrote the movie with Philip Seymour Hoffman as a priest.
Doubt.
Yeah, he wrote Doubt. So it all comes full circle. That Shanley reminds me actually of one of the priests that got busted in Boston. You don't remember Father Paul Shanley? He was one of the big.
They
ones.
shared a last name.
They did.
Are they related?
They could be actually. I don't even know. And I don't want to know.
No.
But he was involved in like what became what was the movie about the priest in Boston?
Mystic
Spotlight.
River?
The Spotlight. Well, yeah.
Spotlight.
He was heavily involved in the Spotlight one. And
Yeah. Paul Richard Shanley was an American Roman Catholic priest who became the center of a massive sexual abuse scandal in the Archdiocese of Boston in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Which is, he
didn't
shares the
fare
same
he didn't fare so well in prison.
This writer is probably super happy we're bringing this up.
Of course. Yeah. Is it Cullen?
Yeah.
Third one here is A Time to Kill, which recently closed, actually, which is based on, I assume, the popular Matthew McConaughey movie, as well as the book by
John Grisham. Recently closed at that time.
At that time.
It is long dead.
I was going to say, that's still going?
Yeah, it was a musical.
Yeah.
I hope they burn in hell. I hope they burn in hell.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like bringing the funk, bringing the noise. That's just like
a collaboration with Stomp.
Yeah, Stomp. Collabro.
Lyrics by Elton John and Tim Rice.
Yeah, exactly.
Savion Glover.
Well, Kyle, what's going on at the movies at this time since we just talked about one?
Yes, I will tell you what was going on. Could you believe it at the movies? Number 2 at the box office. You see it here. Frozen. Ooh. 11 weeks in the box office at this point, and they're still number 2, which is, impressive.
You couldn't make that movie today. Could you? I don't know.
Too white?
Too cold.
White. Yeah, it's very divisive.
What was that song? Let It Go.
Let It Go.
Yeah, by Adele Dazeem.
Adina Menzel.
As John Travolta pronounced it.
Oh, yeah.
Wrongly. Well, we all know Frozen wasn't actually meant to be seen anyway. They just made it to distract from the fact that people were Googling Walt Disney Frozen.
That's true?
Oh, yeah.
That's a conspiracy.
That is
so
a good
now
conspiracy.
The movie comes up when they Google those words together.
Hey, you know. Number 1 at the box office, Ride Along with Ice Cube and Kevin Hart.
Really?
The classic comedy that everyone loves and remembers.
Yes. It is in its 3rd week and still at number 1, which is...
I've never seen this movie.
Yeah, I haven't either.
I have a friend who was in Ride Along 2.
Oh.
Not the first one, though.
The squeakquel.
Couldn't make the first one.
No.
Because it was so action star packed.
Yeah.
And so many laughs.
Yeah. On TV in the world of sports, Super Bowl 48. The Seattle Seahawks defeated the Denver Broncos 43-8.
That's not even a close game.
Yeah,
No, the first snap of the game was over Peyton Manning's head, and they got a safety. This took place at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, which is the Meadowlands. It's home to the Giants and the Jets. Yes, the Giants and the Jets play in New Jersey, even though they're called the New York Giants and New York Jets. And it's the first Cold City Super Bowl.
I've been to the Meadowlands. I fell down going up an escalator there because I was so drunk.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be the last cold Super Bowl because in 2018, it took place in Minneapolis.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's correct.
Yeah.
Great stadium. Went there this year.
Really?
Go Pats.
That was you?
That was me.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so there we have it.
Yeah.
That is the Pop Culture Flash.
We are caught up.
Yeah.
And with that, why don't we get started?
Let's dive in, baby.
Philip Hoffman was born July 23rd, 1967 in Fairport. And that's a suburb of Rochester, New York.
Well, you got to say, New York, because I think there's a Fairport, Connecticut also.
There's a lot of ports over there.
Yeah.
Is that like Springfield where there's a ton of different versions?
Yeah. That's true, too, yeah.
And apparently Rochester is the optical capital of the United States.
That sounds weird.
because Xerox was there.
Oh,
you got
okay.
Kodak, and the CinemaScope lens was invented there.
Oh wow.
Well, Boston had Polaroid, so we used to like the in Kodak.
I don't know. I guess Kodak is Rochester, right?
Yeah.
So Boston had Polaroid, so we'd
Yeah.
like to think we had a little bit of rivalry
Yeah.
going on here.
A rivalry nobody was that heated
yeah,
about.
very one-sided. Actually.
Kodachrome, baby.
Yeah. yeah, a very outdated version of pictures, and they're actually kind of basically out of business now. So.
Yeah.
Bostonians were just looking for a reason to fight.
I think Rochester won in the end.
Yeah.
We were the drunken people at the after the bar that threw some bad haymakers, and we lost.
Yeah.
Rochester's like, whoa, you don't have to swing at me.
Yeah.
I don't even care that you have Polaroid.
Yeah, I got 5 feet on you, buddy.
And your breath smells.
Yeah. Get out of here.
Philip's dad worked at Xerox.
Oh.
He was a company man.
Oh wow.
Really?
And his mom was an elementary school teacher.
That seems like a solid family, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, for now.
Okay.
Oh,
She
boy.
later became a family court judge, by the way.
Ooh.
That
His
could be
mom.
bad, though. That could be disastrous if you divorce a woman who's a family court judge.
Yeah.
You're like, you're screwed. dude.
Yeah. Kill yourself.
Well,
Okay.
they divorced before that, though, when Philip was 9.
Oh, okay.
And he was raised primarily by his mom, whose name is Marilyn O'Connor.
Ooh, O'Connor.
O'Connor, we can't have you.
We can't have you, O'Connor.
So we got another dad that's out of the picture.
Papa was a Rolling Stone, I
Yeah.
guess.
Damn.
Like Lil Peep.
But he worked at Xerox. He's not like a rock and roll dad. He's a
Yeah.
Xerox man.
Make
Yeah.
it copy.
At
Look
least
at the copies, Mr. Seymour
if
Hoffman.
your dad ran off with a rock band, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But if he works at Xerox,
Just to go get beers at the Chili's with the coworkers after
Yeah.
Xerox working 8 hours a day. That's depressing.
yeah, he brings his new girlfriend to TGI Fridays.
Yeah.
You see him across the room, like, oh God.
Yeah, my dad's wild. He's buying Long Island iced teas for the room.
So Phil and his mom were very close. They went to plays together. They watched sports together. And seeing a production of Arthur Miller's All My Sons changed his life.
Wow.
So the mom kind of probably didn't get another guy and was kind of lonely, and just her and her son just hung out and, went into the city a lot,
Yeah,
it seems like.
into the optical capital of the United States.
Well, I'm sure they went down to New York
Yes,
also. Into
that too.
Manhattan. Yeah.
Wait, Rochester didn't have the hottest plays?
I'm assuming no.
Okay. And Phil was the second of 4 kids, by the way.
Wow.
All raised by her.
Wow.
Remarkable.
Busy house.
Yeah.
All while being a judge.
Not yet.
Not yet.
That was later.
Here come the judge.
Here come the judge.
Phil went to Fairport High School. He was very popular, as you could probably guess.
Sure.
And he was a sports guy into wrestling, football, and baseball. However, there was a serious neck injury when he was 14. So serious that if he had continued, it could have been paralysis.
So he was like the Jennifer Grey story. I don't know if you remember that, but she was basically almost lost her head. Like she was like most of her head, like her spinal cord was like chopped off, but she was still living somehow. Her doctor her doctor said, if you got in a bad car accident, your head would get severed off.
This Jennifer Grey?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
Jennifer Grey.
Yeah,
Because of the whiplash
Yeah.
with the car wreck.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can be like living in like you're almost decapitated basically.
Yeah.
I don't
God.
understand it, but yeah,
He wasn't that bad.
not that bad.
But it was bad enough that he quit sports. And he pivoted to
Drugs.
theater.
Oh, theater. That's better.
That's later.
That's more positive.
Legend has it that he had a crush on one of the girls in the school play. And that's why he joined.
Ooh.
So much of like endeavors into the arts is just trying to get some chick.
Trying to get puss.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
getting laid.
Trying to get laid and paid.
Trying to get some trim.
Yeah, that's what theater guys say all the time.
He starred in a play at the age of 16 after a few minor roles. And you know what this play was?
What, Grease?
Death of a Salesman.
Oh, okay.
He played Willie Loman.
Arthur Miller strikes again.
Is that the dad?
Yeah, that's the main character.
Wow, that's a big role for someone that age.
The downtrodden
Yeah.
salesman.
Very sad role for someone like that.
At the end of his life.
Yeah.
End of his rope.
End of his rope salesman. Yeah. He's been laid off. He was like pretending to go to work and stuff.
Yeah, and people couldn't believe this kid could pull off that role.
Yeah. He was like out the gate. He was like a natural.
Yeah, they're like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Doing a convincing Willie Loman at age 16?
Yeah, that's insane. That's like
Where do
bizarre.
you find that, you know?
A boy genius or something
Right.
that's able to kind of pull that off. It just seems like frightening if you're watching it.
And 25 years later, he would reprise that role of Willie Loman in Death of a Salesman on Broadway, directed by Mike Nichols.
Really?
He would also receive a Tony nomination for that.
Wow.
Didn't win?
He never won a Tony, which is
That's blasphemy.
awful. And some reviews said that he was too young at 44 to play Willie Loman, which is funny because he played it at 16.
These people are insane. Cut the guy a break. He's doing a
I
great
know.
job here.
You can't please everybody.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I would compare like the critics to the Broadway plays in New York are like the critics of Boston sports fans. You're never gonna please them ever,
yeah.
and it's like really tough to win them over.
Yeah, they know everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
In 1984, he went to the New York State Summer School of the Arts in Saratoga Springs.
That's a mouthful.
There he met lifelong pals Bennett Miller and Dan Futterman.
I've heard of them.
And did he meet someone else notable, or was that later?
Wait, who?
You?
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess it was around this time that he did go to my summer camp. He was one of the counselors there.
Okay, and what was your summer camp called then?
My summer camp was called East Boston Summer Camps.
Okay, so it must have been after this first summer.
Yeah, I think he was there at the same time as me around 86, 87, 88 or something. Well, the picture we have up right now is him with my counselor, Billy Morris from East Boston Camps. And I think him and Billy actually went to Boston University together.
Oh,
so
wow.
that's what brought him in the picture. And I think Billy was like, hey, I run this camp. It's actually in Westford, Mass., which is, like I would say like 25 minutes outside of Boston. He's like, hey, you should come and do this for a couple summers or, come be a counselor for a little bit. You'll get some money. We have a good time. I remember these counselors. They had a great time. They got hammered all the time. They got ridiculously drunk all the time.
It's the 80s, baby.
Yeah,
and
it was
it's
a swing in the 80s.
the story of the young working actor.
Yeah. And I think he was, probably trying to save some money to go do summer stock or whatever he was doing the next year or going up to Saratoga.
Yeah.
And I kind of a little bit remember him. I was young. I was like 7 or 8 years old, so I don't remember much about it. But
And it's not like you're aware that he's this force.
No, he's not like, acting as Willie Loman at the camp. So I don't really know he's like a trained actor or anything. I don't really know anything about him. I just know he's a guy that's kind of out of place there because it's a very working class camp.
Yeah.
And he's not like from a privileged background, but he wears that, like that's what he feels like.
Do you remember like the time that you realized who he was? Like, oh shit, like I met that guy.
In 2014 when he died.
Oh wow.
It took you that long.
It took me because I didn't really pay attention to that camp that I went to, and I didn't really think much of it. And then I saw this picture posted from a friend. A friend of a friend posted it on my wall on Facebook. Remember, people just post pictures on your wall, and most of the time it's annoying. But this time I'm like, oh my god,
non-consensual posting too.
Yeah, exactly. It brought me back to this time when he was one of my counselors at this camp, and I didn't even think about it until then. And since then I did do a deep dive. There's a East Boston Camps like Facebook group. I did some during the pandemic, I went crazy like multiple times. Like I'm like, what have I done with my life? You know, and just like looked at everything. And I found some pictures of me from this camp, and I also refound this one of Philip here and Billy. This is them two. I think they went to Germany together
nice.
1 year when they weren't going to East Boston camps. They were just hanging out there.
He's got a luscious haircut.
Yeah, he does. He never utilized that ever again, the long hair. He
did in some roles.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, in Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
That's right. I totally forgot about
We'll
that.
get to Boogie Nights.
Yeah. And there's one more here, Kyle, of he's not in this one. I tried to find a picture with me with Philip Seymour Hoffman from camp, but I couldn't find one. But yeah, this is one of just me and some kid.
Wait, which one are you?
Yeah, exactly.
Let me see.
These are
I
not,
really can't tell right now.
some kid's got a Bart Simpson T-shirt on, which is like a very low quality version. But no, I really am on the far left side there.
Oh, that is you.
That is
Can you
me.
zoom in a little, Kyle?
You're on the far right, right?
No, far right. Yeah, I didn't know.
Okay.
I didn't know what perspective you had.
Far
there.
right. Let me
Yeah.
see this.
There he is.
That's you.
This was a camp primarily
Interesting.
of like Italian kids from East Boston that that it was like a foundation set up for get them out of the city for the summer and go to this camp, which was a little bit outside of the city. And that gentleman that whose sweat stain I'm casually just laying on there. Unfortunately, that kid came back the next year, and I found out he had passed away like a week before I had gotten there. He drowned actually in the lake in Westford, Massachusetts there.
That
Yeah.
recently after that.
Yeah.
Less than a year later.
Yeah.
Oh
That his name was Dennis. I remember him. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, very sad.
That is sad.
This was like my whole bunk here, and it was just like, you know, it was a good time. I don't remember anything really too bad about this camp. There was a bunch of Irish immigrants that they brought over to be the counselors. Obviously, they were working for nothing, basically, and they were fine.
Get to bed, you little rat.
Yeah, they were crazy. This is not like the normal nice Irish people you meet. These are like, you know, the people from like, you know, the weeds of Ireland. One I saw beat up some kid in the showers one time, and like it got really crazy. But but for the most part, it was a nice fun camp we had there.
Yeah, you have kids dying early.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Shower beatings. Sounds great.
Sounds like Sleepers the way I'm talking.
Yeah, Full Metal Jacket.
A Cronenberg movie
yeah.
with Viggo Mortensen as the counselor.
5 kids died at season. Big deal, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeffrey Jones was traipsing around.
But yeah,
He's the camp director.
Yeah. Buffalo Bill is my another one of my counselors. He's doing the "I'd fuck me."
So no recollection of you had to go to the bathroom, so you asked Phil Hoffman, and he was like, "The bathroom's right over there."
Yeah. No, I don't remember him. I feel like he could have been there, but I don't specifically remember interactions with him. But I do, because we had a big like mess hall, and I can remember kind of that he was definitely in that space. So, yeah.
Okay. Well,
Wow.
That's my connection to Philip Seymour Hoffman. Wrapped up for you.
thank you for sharing.
Of course. So he's up in Saratoga. Last we caught up with him.
Yes.
Yeah, lots of summer acting workshops and camps and whatnot.
Well, that's what you do when you're an up and coming actor. Like that generation that actually works for it. You know, like your Alec Baldwins and like people that came up in the New York acting scene. You actually, you know, you try your ass off in stage acting before you even think of doing a movie.
Oh, if you haven't done Shakespeare in the Park,
Yeah.
forget about going for the Law and Order role.
No.
You have to pay your dues if you're a New York actor.
And that's what
at that
casting
time.
agents are looking for. Yeah, that's what all those people that did Oz, Law and Order, all that stuff, you know, they all came up in that kind of track.
Phil Hoffman ended up graduating from NYU, Tisch School of the Arts. He actually quit drinking around this time because at the age of 22, he entered rehab. He told Steve Croft in a 60 Minutes interview that at that time, his drug use was advanced.
Advanced.
And he would just literally do everything.
I like these little keywords. Clearly, he's doing heroin and coke. And to crazy extents.
Yeah, he said he would snort everything and anything.
Wow, imagine that. Like, I don't know. I've never had an addiction like that, but imagine just being able to not stop yourself like that.
And then to quit like that so young. Before really you're successful.
Yeah.
Because he says that if he was successful any earlier, he would have been dead.
A lot of people say that. I heard. I just heard Christoph Waltz on Bill Maher talking about that actually.
Oh, wow.
He got success later in life, and
Yeah.
he's like, if I didn't, I probably would have been a disaster and done something very bad because I was doing a lot of stuff in my 20s, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'll say the same thing about myself.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Although I still have another 10 years to go before I'm successful. And we have a clip of him talking about his addiction.
Yes.
Fresh Air with Terry Gross.
What do you do when, like, you see people like really enjoying their wine and their beer or their, cognac or whatever? Like, do you resent it? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, do you have to? Does it make you feel resentful that there's this like great pleasure out there and like, you can't have any?
Well, I don't think it's a great pleasure. A couple glasses of wine is, not interesting to me at all. Do you know what I mean? That's what I meant by it's not a great. It's not always. It's not a great pleasure for me to have a couple glasses of wine. That's kind of annoying. Do you know what I mean? Like, why aren't you having the whole bottle?
Right, I got it.
That's much more pleasurable. Do you know what I mean? So it's just somebody who doesn't understand that. They just don't understand it. They're just. So if I see somebody really enjoying their one glass of wine and walking away, then that's what they enjoy. And so, but I can't be resentful of that because that's not enjoyable to me.
Wow.
I mean, I can kind of see it both ways, though. I could see like having a couple glasses of wine or beers or something and not drinking all of them, and also drinking all of them.
But I have different aspects of both for sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes a Big Mac is the most boring thing in the world to me.
Yeah.
But 2 Big Macs.
Yeah.
Give me the buffet.
I know, because like that's what like addiction is. Like you don't like eating like that. You don't wait until a half an hour until you feel satisfied from that food already because you don't need any more.
Right.
But you just you just have that craving, like me with the peanut butter pretzels that I don't need.
Yeah.
That I keep eating in between takes here. But yeah, I could see kind of what he means by that.
Everything is excessive.
Yeah.
And actually, that's exactly what the problem was for Phil Hoffman. To quote him, he kills pleasure. So he would drink too much coffee, drink the pot of coffee, and find a way to ruin that even.
Wow. Yeah.
Like nothing was done in an ordinary amount.
You gotta know your limits, especially with coffee. Like with 2 cups and you're fine. Like anything more than that, you're chasing it.
Chasing the dragon.
So post rehab, his entire focus changed to acting, and it became a new kind of addiction. Early on, he appeared nude in King Lear.
Ooh.
He was fearless.
Did anyone ask him to do that?
Yeah.
No, in fact, they told him to put his clothes on.
Yeah.
His first credit in TV or movies, Law and Order.
Yeah,
Wow.
I remember him in this.
That's the gateway for every New York actor. They have to run through Law and Order.
Absolutely.
And he was credited as Philip Hoffman. He later added the Seymour as his middle name because of union rules. If you can believe it, there was a theater star named Philip Hoffman that was getting a lot of accolades.
Ooh.
And they would get each other's checks.
Really?
Oh, shit.
So, yeah, the union
I'd
told
be cashing
him.
him.
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe he was making more than him with Law and Order.
Yeah, that's true, too.
And after Law and Order, he has his big break that he says changed everything. Much like the play he saw with his mom earlier on, that he also said changed everything.
Yeah, everything changed everything.
Scent of a Woman.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, we got a movie here.
Hey.
I'm ready for this one. Okay.
Al Pacino as a blind asshole.
Yeah.
And it was his first Oscar, I believe.
Pacino?
Yeah.
Yeah,
think
which is shocking.
he was nominated before, but this was his first win, Best Actor.
Yeah. Whoa.
I'm blind.
I tried out a new voice and it worked. Okay.
And famously, hooah! Is from that.
Wow. Yeah. Ooh, she's hot.
So Hoffman plays a student at Bard who is there with Chris O'Donnell's character, the main protagonist. And Phil was credited as Philip S. Hoffman.
Ooh, he's working
no
his way
Seymour
up.
yet.
Yeah.
He auditioned 5 times to get the role.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And it really kicked things off. Future collaborator Paul Thomas Anderson, in his interview on WTF with Mark Maron, he said, quote, "When I saw him there for the first time in Scent of a Woman, I just knew what true love was. I knew what love at first sight was. It was the strangest feeling sitting in a movie theater and thinking, he's for me and I'm for him. And that was it."
Wow.
End quote.
I kind of remember that interview, but that's so much.
It's a little much.
Yeah.
Al Pacino wasn't even that great in that movie.
Dial it down a little, Paul Thomas Anderson. Whoa.
And what is Chris O'Donnell, chopped liver?
Yeah, no kidding, right?
exactly.
Like, he didn't even
No one had
care about
any
him.
respect for Chris O'Donnell ever.
You didn't see Chris O'Donnell in Licorice Pizza or Boogie Nights?
No, or his kids anywhere. Yeah. Well, I my thing with Chris O'Donnell is I always say he was just a placeholder until we got Matt Damon. He was just like, once we had Matt Damon, they're like, we don't need you anymore, Chris O'Donnell. It's been fun.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. Yeah, Chris O'Donnell. Doesn't sound as good.
No.
Yeah.
And so he rode the wave of Scent of a Woman and appeared in My Boyfriend's Back, Nobody's Fool with Paul Newman, and When a Man Loves a Woman with Meg Ryan as an alcoholic. Ooh. And in that picture, he was finally credited with his full name, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh, wow.
1995, Phil Hoffman joined the Labyrinth Theater Company, like the David Bowie movie. And on their website, their mission is, quote, "Founded in 1992 by a small group of actors who wanted to push their artistic limits and tell more inclusive stories that expanded the boundaries of mainstream theater."
Inclusive, like more white people?
Much more white people, yeah.
It sounds like, that's what people do. Is like everyone's following the Steppenwolf kind of, way of doing it. I'm sure that Steppenwolf didn't create doing like an artist collective of actors and stuff, but a lot of people who do that just kind of start a theater and stuff.
They would aspire to be Steppenwolf. Obviously, this
one of the
didn't quite
more
make it
high profile ones. Yeah.
as big as Steppenwolf.
No,
but
it doesn't sound like it.
I thought we were talking about the American-Canadian rock band that sang Born to be Wild.
Yeah, Magic Carpet Ride Band. No, different.
Steppenwolf started it all.
Yeah.
Hoffman later became artistic co-director, and he would direct and star in various plays out of that theater. And in 2010, he actually utilized the entire troupe of actors and crew and directed his one and only movie called Jack Goes Boating, co-starring Amy Ryan and
She's great.
John Ortiz, who was also running the theater.
He's great also.
And Jack Goes Boating, based on an off-Broadway play.
I never watched this.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's like a awkward love story about a couple of shy people.
I couldn't see him directing like a rom-com or anything. Like
No.
it's definitely going to be some like heady, kind of dark, character-driven, moody type of piece or something.
Think John Cassavetes presents Love on the Spectrum.
Oh my God,
That's what this
that
movie
sounds like
is.
a panic attack.
I'm in.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
It generally received positive reviews, especially for the main actors. So There you go. He loved that theater, always was involved with it somehow, and his only movie is basically a love letter to that theater.
Wow.
But he also went to Hollywood. And in
course.
1996, he appeared in a little movie called Twister, where he played a storm chaser. And of that experience, he remembers there were a lot of other young actors, and it was a blast. And do you want to hear a little bit of trivia?
Yes, please.
There were a bunch of scenes that were deleted with him and Carrie Elwes,
Yeah.
who you
I met him.
yeah.
I met him at a table read one time, and he was a very, very nice guy.
Oh, nice.
Very good guy.
And their scenes were deleted because of profanity, because the studio decided to change the rating from R to PG-13.
Wow.
Well, Helen Hunt is more of a PG-13 type of actor, I feel like.
Because of Mad About You. And
Yeah,
all that.
and Paul Ryan. People coming from Mad About You to go see this movie, they're like, oh my God, what's with this F word?
Another piece of trivia is in the theatrical version, there's a scene where Hoffman is sitting on a lawn chair, and there's a brief moment where his genitals are exposed.
Oh, Jesus. He's like
And
Rodney Dangerfield.
They later erased it from the home video release.
This
Not to
whole
be-
lawn chair's out of order.
Oh, man. Philip, you're really showing the whole show there.
Yeah. Like, what do you think this is, King Lear? This is a tornado movie.
Put your sack away.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're a New York actor.
Yeah. Can't have that here.
Followed that with Hard Eight, his first movie with Paul Thomas Anderson.
PTA.
Also happened to be P.T. Anderson's first movie.
Yeah, I remember him as like the big high roller in like the shitty Reno casino.
Yeah, craps player.
Craps player who keeps shitting on Jerry, the main guy, Philip Baker Hall.
Phil, yeah.
Yeah, and he keeps calling him old timer. He's like, "Ain't that right, old timer?" He was great. It kind of
good.
reminded me of later on when he did Punch Drunk Love, like kind of like that asshole, like horrible character.
Right. A year later, 1997, he did another movie with P.T. Anderson that we all know and love called Boogie Nights.
Oh my God, this is when he came on my radar.
Yeah.
After being at camp with him, obviously. Which if I had known that guy was at my camp at that age, I'd be like,
You could have
oh my
gotten
God.
a smooch from him.
Yeah.
You might have had a chance.
Yeah. He would have went for me, I think.
Boogie Nights in an ensemble that is just insane. Where
Yeah.
everybody
It's hard to stick
is
out.
amazing.
Yeah.
Somehow Hoffman stole the show as Scotty, the boom operator who is looking for love in all the wrong places.
I just remember him saying, "I'm sorry, man. I'm just so drunk." When he tries to make out with
Yeah.
Dirk Diggler, "I'm just so drunk, man. I'm just so drunk. I'm sorry, man."
And then he's like, or if you want, you can kiss me. And Dirk Diggler's like, yo, man, no, I don't want to kiss you.
Yeah.
But we're still friends. It's cool.
That-
And then he goes and bawls his eyes out in the car.
He's
by
like, "You
himself.
fucked up, man." Yeah, he
Yeah.
like loses his shit.
Fucked up.
So much pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg must have hated that scene too, because he's like seems like someone that doesn't go down for shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Although he was pretty game for that movie.
I guess so.
Because it launched him. There'd be no Planet of the Apes remake without
Where would
Boogie
we
Nights.
be without that?
There would be no Daddy's Home 2
Yeah,
without that.
no guy who said he could stop 9/11.
Yeah. Yeah. No Transformers 3.
Yeah.
God.
Where was
Oh yeah, we were talking about Boogie Nights, but a stellar performance amongst many great performances.
And after this, he establishes himself as a go-to character actor.
yeah,
A studio had told him, you know what, you're always going to be working because they need guys like you in Hollywood.
yeah.
You,
Yeah,
you
he-
may not be the main star, but you are going to work because you're so versatile, you know?
Yeah.
And Hoffman had no aspirations to be a movie star anyway. Again, it's that New York actor thing where they want to go to their coffee shop and not be recognized, you
Yeah.
know? So Hoffman would often play flawed, offbeat characters rather than the traditional hero. And we have a clip here about him talking about his acting process.
To act really well takes a tremendous amount of focus and concentration. It really does. There's a kind of sharpness of concentration that you have to hold over a period of time. That is really difficult to do. And so I find that I have to kind of go there. I have to kind of fully go there. I can't kind of half go there, 3/4 go there.
All
If I'm half or 3/4, I'm really bad. There's no middle ground for me.
That's like his, substance intake. It's nothing halfway.
Exactly. It's all the same jug.
He's got to
drinking
jump in
from.
like crazy.
Mm-hmm. clues you into on why he's so entertaining to watch. Like, he is giving you everything.
Yeah.
He's cutting out his heart and putting it on a plate for you.
Yeah, that can only last so long, though. I feel like if you are like that, you can't just give everything to the role every single time.
Right.
I don't know.
1998 would prove to be a big year for him. He did the indie comedy Next Stop Wonderland. Then he did the Big Lebowski.
Oh my God.
He played Jeffrey Lebowski's henchman.
Brant.
Brant. Yeah.
Brant explained it to you. What else do you need to know? Totally unfazed by anything happening around him, by the insanity of this story.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know. It was
smile talker.
Yeah, just like that weird HR guy. It's that weird HR guy that knives you in the back. Maybe that's like his dad at working at Xerox or something.
And that's basically what they do to the dude later on in the movie.
Yeah, they totally set him up.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Her life is in your hands, dude. I just remember him saying that to him over and over after they give him that briefcase full of fake money. Her life is in your hand. Mr. Lebowski wanted me to say that a couple of times.
Yeah, right.
Wait, man, that's not cool.
And continuing in 1998, Patch Adams. He played Robin Williams' roommate, long-suffering roommate,
This
Mitch.
is a bad decision, in my opinion.
And what does he say in it, Kyle?
He said he's just mad at Robin Williams for just being a clown instead of an actual doctor. And he's saying, yes, I might be a dick, but if I'm dying, I'd rather have the dick or something like that.
yeah, doing surgery on my brain than a guy wearing a clown makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He doesn't buy into the whole being a clown cures cancer thing.
I'm sorry, I agree, though. I love Robin Williams, but this is just a bad idea for a movie.
You know.
I think we should really be examining our healthcare system here and not having clowns doing surgery on people. I'm sorry.
It's
Call
a
me old-fashioned.
crazy movie, Patch
It's
Adams.
absurd.
And then, to end 1998, he appeared in Happiness.
Oh, my God. This is a wild one.
Perhaps one of the creepiest characters in cinema history. And this is in a movie where there's also a pedophile.
Yeah. Todd Solondz directed from the fun, wacky mind of Todd Solondz.
Yeah. The depraved, fun, wacky mind.
Yeah, a good friend of mine was recommending this to a girl recently. I'm like,
my God.
Are you an insane person?
It's a great date movie. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah. You want a happiness and chill on my couch?
And in the beginning, he's at the therapist's office going like, look, I know I'm boring. You don't have to lie to me. I know I'm boring. People tune out. And then, of course, then it zooms in on the therapist and you hear his thoughts going like, okay, I need to buy a gallon of milk.
Yeah.
He's totally zoned out.
I feel like they stole that for something about Mary. Remember the therapist in that was just, he's coming back in from the bathroom. He was eating a sandwich.
That's hilarious. And later he makes obscene phone calls to his neighbor that he has a crush on.
Yeah.
And according to IMDb, he based his character off of Ralph Reed, the founder of the Christian Coalition and a famous Republican politician.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Well, a lot of these, these Christ, ministers are secretly scoundrels.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's playing that kind of into the role, maybe.
Hoffman appeared in this documentary called The Party's Over about the 2000 election.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Wow.
Yeah. And he basically plays the role of a concerned citizen, but it's himself. It's a documentary.
Yeah.
And the director is Donovan Leitch, who is the son of the Donovan.
Oh,
Mellow
really?
Yellow. Yeah.
Well, his sister is Ione Skye, I think, which was also Donovan's daughter, who was married to the Beastie Boy, Adam Horovitz, for a while.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Little trivia for you.
Yeah. And so, this movie, he goes all over the place, culminating in him going to the Republican convention in Los Angeles.
Really?
And who does he meet there but Ralph Reed? who proceeds to tell him that Happiness is, if not his favorite, one of his favorite movies.
What?
And we have a clip.
Hey, Phil Hoffman. I always love to meet you. Oh, I'm a big fan of yours. Are you the actor that's in? You were in. I mean, you've been in everything. Yeah. You were in The Talented Mr. Ripley. I'm a big fan of yours. Oh, thanks. I think you're one of the best character actors in Hollywood. I mean that. Thank you very much. You do great work. Have you been here for the past 5 days? Yeah. You just showed up today. No, I've been here all week. How's it been? I've been to a ton of your movies. You work like a dog. I mean, you're in everything. I work too much. How's the convention been for you? It's been great. It's been fabulous. Yeah? Yeah. They're voting him in right now, right? Yeah. Anyway, you keep doing what you're doing. Oh, you too. You're a fabulous actor. Oh, thanks very much.
You're a fabulous
He's
actor.
looking him up and down there.
Yeah,
that's
a little
weird.
Yeah.
What do you say to that?
I still found it very ballsy that they had that RNC convention in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I remember Rage Against the Machine, playing a concert outside of there to protest it.
Yeah.
There was a lot of protesting going on.
Well,
with that.
he won allegedly. I don't
Wow.
think he won, but
Yeah, we won't get into that.
yeah.
And 9/11 happened the next year.
Well, let's not get into that either.
So Donovan
Future episodes.
Leach, the director, he says that Phil was awesome to work with, a good friend of his, but some of that intensity would boil over into anger on occasion, because he tells a story how at the convention, Philip had his mom come out, to be there.
Yeah.
And they couldn't find exactly where she was. He was kind of lost inside the convention hall. And
So the production assistants or whoever's job it is to coordinate all these people was not doing a good job.
no, and he blew up at Donovan's girlfriend
Oh, really?
in a really over the top way.
No shit.
Yeah. So,
Well, is it
nice guy, but there was a rage there.
Yeah. Well, he could have been. I don't know. He could have been using maybe also.
He
He was coming off something, or
From what I know, he was sober during this time.
okay.
The whole time, actually, until he wasn't.
Yeah. So
Later on.
throughout the 90s and the 2000s,
Yep.
he was doing great.
Happiness, Boogie Nights, all that. He's sober.
Wow.
Donovan made a note to himself, don't piss this guy off.
Yeah.
1999, the train keeps rolling. He appeared with one of his idols, Robert De Niro,
yeah?
in Joel Schumacher's Flawless. And he
Wow.
played a drag queen.
I remember that movie.
And
Weird
De Niro's
movie.
a security guard who's really homophobic and
Yeah.
has a stroke. And so Hoffman has to nurse him
Yeah,
back to health.
he has got like Bell's palsy, where like half his face is
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
And Hoffman is like, la 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 ti do.
Yeah.
And De Niro's like, you fucking.
Yeah. That was the entire premise. Gay guy and guy that don't
Yeah.
like gay guy. That's like so many movies.
Yeah. Cut an hour off. It's a sitcom.
Yeah, exactly.
Really good performance, though, I have to say.
Both of them,
Yeah.
yeah.
Talented Mr. Ripley. Hoffman played Freddie Miles, Ivy League rich boy who hates Matt Damon. And can you blame him?
Matt Damon. He fits into that role very well. As like I was saying before, a guy of affluence. That whole movie makes me so nervous.
Oh, it's such an uncomfortable movie.
Such an
Yeah.
uncomfortable movie. And it's so crazy. Ralph Reed loves it. So
Happiness. But yeah, he loves that too.
yeah.
But Happiness was, remember, his favorite.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What a psycho. Who would admit to that? Even if it was your favorite.
Yeah.
Magnolia. That was also 1999.
Yeah.
Phil Parma, the nurse. And
Yep.
this really is the one
Jason
I think.
Robards.
I think this sealed the deal, where Hoffman is a versatile character actor.
Yeah.
Who not only will blend into the ensemble, but at the same time completely stick out and be memorable. Because
Yeah.
the level of empathy that this nurse has in that movie is
Yeah.
you can just feel it.
I mean-
he's desperately trying to get a hold of Tom Cruise
Yeah.
to say that his dad, who ditched Tom Cruise
Yeah.
as a kid, is dying.
Yeah.
And, even though this guy is not a likable figure, the nurse still has compassion.
Yeah. I remember that. He was great at like he stayed in that same location the entire movie.
Yeah,
like,
he's just in the house.
He's just trying to make phone calls and get. At some point, he's trying to get like dirty magazines, like Smut.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Can you get me Penthouse, Hustler?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." And they deliver all that stuff, and that's why he goes to find the Frank Mackey ads so he can call and actually get connection with. And Tom Cruise is amazing in that. Too.
Amazing, and he sets that into motion. The nurse, the meeting at the end.
He does. Yeah. I remember when Tom Cruise came into the house. He goes, "Any of those dogs touch me, I'm gonna drop kick them."
Right. And he says that a couple times.
I agree because those dogs. Yeah, he's like, "I'm gonna repeat this again. Any of those dogs touch me, I'm gonna drop kick them and kill them or something."
And then in 2000, Hoffman played against type. He's been building. Well, I guess not so much the nurse, because he continues that track as sensitive screenwriter in David Mamet's State and Maine.
Yeah.
And he's also Rebecca Pidgeon's love interest in the movie.
Yeah.
So
who's David Mamet's real life wife? And I say Mamet because I did have a professor at a not so prestigious Massachusetts university who said he was friends with David Mamet, and he kept calling him David Mamet like a fool.
Like Anne Heck.
Yeah, like Anne Heck. Like another film professor of mine who was ridiculous.
Oh my God.
Yeah, not good professors I had.
And then also in 2000, one of my favorite roles of his, Almost Famous.
Oh, yeah.
Rock journalist Lester Bangs, who mentors young William Miller.
Yeah.
Budding
rock and roll's over,
writer.
man.
Exactly. It's too bad you missed it.
Yeah. I don't do a good film. You do a good Philip Seymour Hoffman, I think. You do a good voice.
I do what I can.
Yeah. You show up.
On the set of this movie, Philip Seymour Hoffman had the flu the entire time. I mean, he only spent 4 days shooting, but still, that whole part he was sick. And listen to this. Ironically, the real Lester Bangs, who the character, who he plays, it's based on him, the real guy died young of an overdose in 1982.
Damn.
And in his system were opioids, benzos, and NyQuil. And why was he taking all that? To combat the flu. So the real Lester Bangs died while he had the flu, overdosing on drugs. And playing him in the movie now, Philip Seymour Hoffman has the flu.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And of course, we all know he also died of a drug overdose, but I'm ahead of myself.
Oh, wait.
Let's hear a little of this famous clip.
See, friendship is the booze they feed you. They want you to get drunk and feeling like you belong.
Well, it was fun.
Because they make you feel cool. And hey, I met you. You are not cool.
I know. Even when I thought I was, I knew I wasn't.
Because we are uncool. Now, while women will always be a problem for guys like us, most of the great art in the world is about that very problem. Good-looking people, they got no spine. Their art never lasts.
And he goes on to say, the only true currency in this bankrupt world is what you share with someone else when you're uncool. Cameron Crowe wrote that, of course, based on his experience.
Himself, yeah.
And he called Phil Hoffman an actor's actor.
Yeah.
2002, Phil Hoffman finally had his first starring role in Love, Liza, a movie written by his older brother, Gordy.
I remember hearing about this.
He huffs gas in the movie.
Nice.
After his wife dies.
Jesus.
That's the log line.
Nice.
That's the log line. Get out of here.
Then he appeared in Brett Ratner's Red Dragon.
Oh, God.
Brett Ratner. You go from P.T. Anderson, Cameron Crowe to Brett Ratner.
Yeah, you're like, I'm on the downward
Yeah, I thought I was an up-and-coming actor here. Sir Anthony Hopkins showed up on the set during one of his off days just so he could watch Hoffman work.
He's a fan of actors. I heard he wrote an entire letter to Bryan Cranston after he watched Breaking Bad about how great his performance was.
That's awesome.
I wanted to eat your performance with fiber beans and a nice Chianti. And also in 2002, 25th Hour. Another fucking great movie.
Banger movie. One of my favorite movies,
Spike
actually.
Lee. I agree. It doesn't get much better than 25th Hour.
Yeah, I heard Edward Norton's a pain in the ass, but I do like that movie.
Well, when you get the right performance out of him, maybe it was worth it.
It could be.
I don't know. But yeah, he plays his friend in it.
Yeah,
Edward Norton's going to jail.
He's kind of a schlubby bum friend who comes for money.
Who has a crush on one of his students.
Yes, played by Anna Paquin,
Mm-hmm.
who I found out was from New Zealand recently.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kiwi, huh?
And lost her
Kiwi, eh?
accent. Lost her accent.
She did.
And her good roles.
Like Austin Butler, he lost his accent. He sounds like Elvis now.
He should lose that accent.
Yeah, hey, I don't know what accent. Ooh.
You don't see Tom Hanks keeping his accent from that movie.
From what, Philadelphia?
No, from Elvis. Yeah, he keeps the physique of Philadelphia and the accent of Elvis. All right. And then,
He's
as if
wide.
2002 wasn't great enough, Punch Drunk Love.
Get out of town.
Playing Dean the Mattress Man.
Yeah.
He extorts money from Adam Sandler, who calls his scam phone sex line.
This is the intensity he got from East Boston camps. He brought into this movie.
Yes.
Punch
You
Drunk
want to
Love.
see some of this intensity?
Let's
Let's
see
watch
it, let's
this
see it.
after Adam Sandler is confronting him on the phone.
Yeah.
You're a bad person. You have no right taking people's confidence in your service. You understand me, sir? You're sick. No. Shut up! Shut the fuck up!
Got the hair back.
Shut up! Will you shut up? Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
I mean, that's just one of the greatest pieces of audio.
Yeah, he's great. Like, he does a lot of roles like that. His best roles are just on a phone in a room. That's all he needs, really.
It's the last two clips. Yeah.
Exactly. And then, 2003 onward, owning Mahoney, Cold Mountain, teaming up with Anthony Minghella again from
Big-
Talented Mr.
Big
Ripley,
epic movie. Yeah.
who would die a couple years later.
Yeah, and his
the
son would live
director.
on as an actor.
Mhm.
Yep.
Along Came Polly.
Yeah, the Sharp movie. That's what I'm talking about.
Raindrops. He's shooting basketball. There's a clang.
Just clang against the backboard, just going nowhere. He's all dressed up head to toe, ready to play basketball on the streets of New York, and he sucks.
So good.
Yeah, he's so funny in that.
Former child actor in it, right?
Yes.
Kind of a failed adult actor.
Yeah,
lampooning himself a bit.
Kind of sounds like Tim Dillon.
And he was friends with Amy Sedaris and appeared in Strangers with Candy, the movie.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, in 2005.
I didn't know he was involved in that whole Sedaris family.
Well, most people wanted to forget that movie, but the show was great.
I never got it. It was
was hilarious.
It was a weird girl making weird faces and Stephen
I'm
Colbert.
Jerry Blank.
And she just do this and like, all right.
Well, David Letterman thought it was really funny.
Yeah, I like this show. Gutty gum.
Gunny gum.
Arliss. All right. After Stranger with the Candy, where can you go but up? Capote, 2005.
Capote.
I remember
Shut up,
his friends from camp, Dan Futterman.
From Mark Mulcairn?
And Bennett Miller. Well, Dan wrote a screenplay, and he said, hey, Bennett, you should direct this. It's about Truman Capote and In Cold Blood, the making of it.
Yeah.
Who should we get to play Truman? And then they both paused, and they were like, Phil.
Oh?
Where was that Home Improvement?
Yep.
More power.
And as anyone would be, I think, he was apprehensive at taking the role to do a serious drama as Truman Capote because Phil, he's like 5'10", not a really tall guy, but he's a big guy. And he's got a low voice, masculine.
Mm-hmm.
So he was intimidated to say yes to the role at first.
To say yes
And
to Capote.
Ultimately did.
Because Capote was like a little guy who with like a very high voice like that.
Yeah, and let's turn that clip on. In this clip, you'll notice his diminutive figure. Did I get the word right this time?
Yeah.
But look at how he
Hope you
slumps
won't mind
into
me
the
saying,
chair.
but I thought your last book was even better than the first.
Thank you.
And just when you think they've gotten as good as they can get.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Ma'am.
you. Thank you very much.
Latka.
Latka.
Catherine
You're
Keener in
pathetic.
action?
What? You paid him to say that.
How did you know?
Just when you think they've gotten as good as they can get.
I thought that was a good line. Do you think that was too much? Capote.
It's a weird bit Capote plays there where he just pays someone, unfortunately, some sad sack who has to say you're great.
Yeah.
And on his movies, such as this one, for purely technical reasons, he would stay in character while shooting. He would lose the voice or the character if he stopped.
Yeah.
So he must have been fun to have lunch with, huh?
You've got to go all in.
Are you going to finish that buffalo chicken wrap?
I gotta work tomorrow morning.
I'm so hungry I could eat at Arby's.
Yeah, that would be obnoxious to keep up. Like, I don't know how long their shooting days. It's got to be shooting for at least 2 months, though. That'd be awful.
Yeah. But he did win the Oscar for Best Actor in a Leading Role. And in his speech, he said, quote, "My mom's name is Marilyn O'Connor, and she's here tonight. And I'd like, if you see her tonight, to congratulate her because she brought up 4 kids alone, and she deserves a congratulations for that."
Yeah.
Give it up for my mama.
He stays in character on the stage.
I'd like to thank my mother.
And the Academy.
Yeah.
Then he followed that up with Mission Impossible 3.
With Tom Cruise is back.
Reunion.
Yeah, reunion to Magnolia days.
Yep. Then, other movies, The Savages.
Directed by J.J. Abrams. Sorry, keep going.
Did he?
J.J. Abrams directed...
Oh, Mission Impossible 3.
Yeah.
I thought you meant The Savages.
No.
I'm like, I don't remember J.J. Abrams directing an Alzheimer's drama.
No.
Then Charlie Wilson's War.
Yeah, great at that.
Another Oscar nomination, by the way, for that. And then ending 2007 with, this might be my favorite Phil Hoffman movie, besides Almost Famous and Punch Drunk Love. Before the Devil Knows You're Dead.
Oh, my God.
Directed by Sidney Lumet.
Yeah.
Legendary director. This
Yeah.
guy directed Network.
Yeah, he directed The French Connection.
Well, about Hoffman, he said that there's a scene in a car that was one of the most extraordinary scenes of acting with which he had ever been involved.
This is like Happiness or The Talented Mr. Ripley for me. This movie is so tense and so visceral and real. It just makes you have like a panic attack. It's like there's no other way to say it. It's like it's crazy how good this movie is.
Yeah, the opening scene, it just starts right away.
Oh my
Just like,
God,
bang.
yeah.
And it never lets up.
No.
It's not fair! It's not fair! All my life, I've been afraid of becoming like him. All my life with you, and it's not fair. You can't just say sorry and make it all go away. It's too late. It's not that easy. It's not fair. It's not fucking fair. Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
I mean, if that's not real, I
That's
don't know what real
intense,
is.
man.
Oof. Yeah. And he's married to Marissa Tomei in that.
Yeah.
And he's depressed.
He's like George Costanza. He's doing pretty well for himself.
I mean, that's when you know you're a fucking loser.
That movie's crazy. That movie's nuts.
You can't even appreciate Marissa Tomei.
Yeah.
2008, we're back to John Patrick Shanley, who had a play out when Hoffman died.
No relation to the priest that
No.
we know of.
But there is a connection.
There's a connection.
Doubt about a priest's inappropriate relationship with a troubled student.
Yeah.
And the other nuns
Yeah.
call it into question.
Is it Amy Adams, the redhead,
Uh-huh.
done in that? Yeah.
Yeah, and
that's right.
then Meryl Streep and Viola Davis.
There's like 3 redhead actresses. I get them all confused. All the time.
Jessica Chastain, probably.
Yeah, and then Ron Howard's daughter,
Blythe?
Blythe Danner.
No, that's Gwyneth Paltrow's mom.
yeah.
Something. Oh, Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah, Bryce Dallas Howard.
Dallas Buyers Club,
Yeah,
whatever.
Exactly.
Okay.
Holy shit, I didn't know that That's Ron Howard's daughter?
Yeah.
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 Wow.
Lady in the Water.
Yeah,
Anyone?
another great
This
one.
thing on.
Yeah.
Shanley only told the actor who played Father Flynn whether or not he was guilty. So basically, he told Hoffman the real story behind the character, but the audience never finds out.
Okay.
And Phil Hoffman said that this was the thing he was asked about the most. People would come up to him all the time demanding he tell them whether the priest in that movie did it or not.
Did he?
I mean, I think it's pretty clear he did.
Okay.
Or didn't. So
I don't know who to believe you.
Another Oscar nomination lost to Heath Ledger.
Oh,
that
wow.
year.
Yeah, we talked about that in the Heath Ledger episode in which he won for the Joker after he died.
Mhm.
Yeah, actors were dropping like flies in 2008. It's crazy. Like good actors.
In introducing him, previous year's winner Alan Arkin called him Seymour Philip Hoffman.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh my
And you can see
God.
Phil kind of laugh it off.
Yeah, oh, did he?
Yeah. 2008, you got Synecdoche, New York. I don't even want to get started
Oh
with
my
that one.
God,
Talk
this-
about throwing yourself into a role.
This
Jesus.
this is Charlie Kaufman. No, this is him. His fault. Like he made this movie crazy.
Yeah, and stripping away all vanity.
And using every little bit of credibility he built up in Hollywood in the entertainment industry to make this big bloated piece of crap insane movie. It's true.
I fell asleep when I saw it in the theater.
Yeah, it meant nothing to anyone. It just like was nonsense piled on nonsense, and it was just like a first draft of a movie you just throw away. I don't
Right.
Yeah.
Jesus. Small part in the invention of lying, Ricky Gervais. Moneyball, directed by Bennett Miller from Capote, his
Yeah.
old pal.
And written by Aaron what's his
Sorkin.
name? Sorkin,
Yeah,
yeah.
he played Oakland A's manager in that.
Great.
Ides of March replaced Brad Pitt in that one, George Clooney's movie, and then a late quartet in 2012.
Yeah.
Also in 2012, there was another little movie called The Master.
Oh yeah. I've come around on The Master. I didn't really like it to begin with because I thought it was again just kind of like self-indulgent nonsense and just like really good shots and cinematography, but he didn't really take the big swings at Scientology I wanted him to take, meaning Paul Thomas Anderson.
It's not as tight as There Will Be Blood, but
No.
it's going for the same feeling.
It is.
About
yeah.
a powerful, ruthless guy that draws people in.
Yeah.
And, you know, there was a lot of hub beforehand that it was going to be about Scientology, and it really didn't deliver on
Not
that.
at all. Through the
It's-
Dreams, I think they're trying to get away. They're trying to like make some discussion about what that is, but it was totally lost.
Yeah, it's impressionistic, the story in that.
Yeah.
But a beautiful movie. The
Beautiful,
cinematography
yeah.
is gorgeous.
And Joaquin Phoenix is great. I remember him.
Both of them.
Yeah, they were both amazing,
Yeah.
but like I think it was lacking something.
Yeah, the leader, it's Lancaster Dodd, and instead of Scientology, it's The Cause.
Yeah.
It was an intense shoot, completed in September 2011. It was 3 years in the making. As usual, Hoffman threw everything into the role. And at the wrap party for The Master,
That must have been a wild party.
he had his first drink in 23 years. He had recently told his girlfriend, Mimi, which I forgot to mention, in 1999, he met costume designer Mimi O'Donnell. They started dating seriously around 2001. And in 2003, they had their first kid, Cooper,
Oh, okay.
followed by 2 other daughters. So he had recently told girlfriend Mimi, he said, I think I can handle drinking again. And she's like, I don't know about that. But he did it anyway. And of course, that led to a relapse of prescription pills, booze, cocaine,
Well, now
heroin.
Now it's like everything. The floodgates are opened up.
Yeah.
because he has access to anything in the world now. It's
Yeah.
not like when you're a kid and you don't even know where to find cocaine. Now he's just like there's like pill services in Manhattan that deliver shit to you.
A year later at the Venice Film Festival, his behavior was alarming. He was falling asleep during press junkets.
Wow.
I'm only laughing because I'm imagining like what's his name? Your former boss.
Byron Allen?
Yeah, Byron Allen's trying to ask him about the master, and he's just like dozing off. Hey, Phil, I recently heard you were on a plane.
That's probably why he fell asleep. It's because Byron Allen just bored him to death.
So how are you like the master? Does he play basketball too?
I heard you had a funny story about you playing basketball.
And Ron Hubbard, he was a weirdo too, right?
What did Tom Cruise say about the movie?
Yeah.
Hey, wake up.
What did Adam Sandler say about the movie? What did some other people say about the movie?
And rumor has it that he was also taking OxyContin at that time, and that's what was causing the drowsiness.
Forget about it. That's bad, man.
Longtime friend Ethan Hawke noticed that his drinking had gotten a little out of control when he went to see him perform in that revival of Death of a Salesman in 2012, which would be his last play.
Really?
Which is poetic in some ways because that was his first big play as a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
So, anyway, in summer 2013, Hoffman entered rehab for 10 days because he was spiraling out of control.
It was getting too obvious.
Yes, exactly. Everyone was noticing. That brings us to the Hunger Games. He signed on for 3 movies in the series, his first one being Catching Fire, released in 2013, and being the only one that he was alive to see.
Wow.
Yeah. He played Plutarch Heavensby, head game maker turned revolutionary leader of the Underground Rebellion. If you haven't seen The Hunger Games, who cares? And if you have, you know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what any of this crap is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. December 2013, Hoffman relapsed and got back on heroin.
Oh, no.
And Mimi told him to move out of the family home for the safety of their relationship and their kids.
Yeah. You can't have needles around like that.
No.
Yeah, just passing out and stuff in the shower. Like he sounds so similar to Heath Ledger, it's crazy. Like the level of drugs and insanity that, Michelle Williams was dealing with, and like they're both people that really throw themselves 130% at everything they're doing. So when they're getting fucked up like that, they're doing it that much too.
So true, because the Joker, it's the quintessential role that is intense and possibly killed the
dropped
actor.
everything, and yeah.
And that's what Phil said too about his acting process. He says that, how he said he has to go there, stay in it. He said he would do that to the point of ill health.
But those demons follow you and stuff of these crazy characters and the depths that you're going with them, and it's not worth it.
No.
It's not worth.
I don't think so.
It's not worth getting $1 million for whatever this Hunger Games nonsense is, and like whatever.
And I'm not blaming the master by any means, but that wasn't fucking worth it.
No, not
You know
at
what I mean?
all. Yeah. And look, if you listen to Paul Thomas Anderson, that rolls off his back.
Oh, he claims he claims it's his best movie. He's so proud of it. Come on.
And also
it was a bit of a misstep. Let's be honest.
He's just a goofy guy. Also, Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah.
He's fine. He's skateboarding and like fucking Tarzana and shit.
December 2013, he's told to move out. So he started living in an apartment around the corner that he had originally rented as a workspace. And this is in Greenwich Village, New York.
Nice real estate.
Where also, what's her name, had an office.
Oh, Adrienne Shelley.
Yeah,
she did.
Later that month, he attended a Narcotics Anonymous meeting where he said that he was counting his sobriety in days. However, his addiction was about to overtake him completely. January 2014, Sundance Film Festival. He's there to promote his new movie, A Most Wanted Man. He has a disheveled appearance, and people are noticing that he's slurring his speech. They see him drinking alone in bars, and he's forgetting the names of people that he knows very well. So, completely out of it. And a journalist named John Arundel recalls having an encounter with him where Hoffman said something pretty disturbing. And we have a clip.
Oh, man.
I bumped into him at one of the late night parties in Sundance, and he looked a little disheveled. He hadn't shaved, And I said, what's your name? And he said, you don't know who I am. And I said, no, what do you do? And he said, I'm a heroin addict. And then he took off his cap and looked me straight in the eyes. And I said, oh, you're Philip Seymour Hoffman. And he said, bingo. And at that point, he sort of trailed off. And as he was walking off, he said, well, I just got out of rehab.
Man. Yeah.
And, you know, not to shit on Philip Seymour Hoffman, not to speak ill of the dead, he, you know, it's hard to tell when he's disheveled and he's not, you know? Is that bad to say?
What are you preparing for your next role?
Yeah.
Is this happiness too?
I know. Yeah. But, you know, that's crazy, though, that he's that explicit about what's going on.
Or maybe they're saying that he's so disheveled.
Oh, shit.
Even from the normal disheveled.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a next
That's why
level.
it's
He's
notable.
reached, you know, third degree of disheveled.
Okay, so yeah, that brings us to Thursday, January 30th, 2014. He's on a break from filming the final installment of The Hunger Games in Atlanta. Hoffman is spotted at a bar drinking heavily with an unnamed woman. Witnesses note that he makes at least a dozen trips to the bathroom where they think he was snorting substances. After the bar, he hopped on a flight back to NYC, and he was photographed passed out on the plane.
I can't help but notice that iced coffee. Like he's trying to wake up or something, and he's already drinking like half of the iced coffee, but it's clearly not working.
This is the last photo of him asleep on the plane.
Jeez.
Friday, January 31st, 2014. At around 8 a.m., he's seen walking around the Greenwich Village neighborhood, business as usual. Saturday, February 1st, 2014. Same time, around 8 a.m., he goes to Chocolate Bar. It's not a big chocolate bar. It's
like a
coffee shop called Chocolate Bar. And it's his favorite in the area. And he orders a quadruple espresso.
Oh, my God.
Got to get that energy.
Yeah, I know. Well, you got to bounce back, I guess.
1:30 p.m. He receives a call from his assistant, Isabella Wing Davy, who later said he sounded normal. About a half hour after that, Phil leaves the apartment and bumps into Mimi on the street.
Oh, man.
She says he seemed high. Later at 8 p.m., Mimi calls Phil to make arrangements for him picking up the kids the next morning. And again, she senses that he's high.
Yeah, you don't want to give your kids to this guy right now in this current state.
No.
But he's not incapacitated because an hour after that, he leaves the apartment. And at 9 p.m., he's seen at a nearby deli with two men. A witness says he beelined for the ATM and withdrew $1,200 in $200 increments. And it is speculated that those two men were obviously his drug dealers.
Oh, okay. So he's asking for $200 bills?
Well, the ATM will only let him take out $200 at a time.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah, so he needed
he's taking
$1,200.
You know, call me the guy that you know is starving for money, but those are the fees every single time.
Oh yeah, it's like $6 a pop, probably.
Maybe even more than that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in New York City deli,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
ATM,
like shady ATM.
Yeah, especially in the village. Come on, yeah,
Oh,
it probably
yeah.
is like $8 to $10 a
You're
pop.
getting screwed.
Who would have thunk it? Rich heroin addicts don't care about the fees.
Exactly, yeah.
10 p.m. He and the guys go to Automatic Slims. Sounds like a Tarantino type joint.
Okay, we're gonna go to Automatic Slims. All right.
I want to
'Cause
win
it's
that
cool.
trophy.
Because it's cool, Jan. That's what I like, Jan.
It's a neighborhood bar where he was a regular. Usually, instead of drinking, he would eat cheeseburgers and fries. And that night, he had his usual burger with a cranberry and soda, alcohol-free. So even though he was back on drinking, he did not have it that night.
Oh.
And he leaves around 11 p.m. Sunday, February 2nd, 2014, 9 a.m. Mimi is waiting for Hoffman to pick up the kids, but he's late. She texts his good friend, playwright David Barr Katz, and asks if he can go over and check on him. 11:30 a.m. Katz goes to the apartment with Isabella, the assistant. The building manager opens the door for them. Upon entering, they find Hoffman dead in the bathroom. He's clad in shorts and a t-shirt with a needle sticking out of his left arm.
Oh my God.
Hoffman was 46 years old.
Wow.
Fuck.
And for lack of a better analogy, talk about getting your hand caught in the cookie jar. It's like, make no mistake.
Yeah.
This is how
what
he
happened.
died. Yeah. Like heroin overdose.
My God.
But it wasn't just heroin. The NYPD finds roughly 50 bags of heroin in the apartment labeled Ace of Spades and 20 hypodermic needles, among other drug paraphernalia. Cocaine, heroin, and benzodiazepine, which can sometimes treat alcohol dependence, were all found in his system, and his death was ruled as accidental.
Well, I feel like the benzos, that's for the day after, to bring you down. If you're depending on if like you have a hangover or you're trying to come off of like a bad heroin withdrawal, you do stuff like that, and it's just like you just have all these drugs to like get you fucked up and then to bring you down and get you sober and then just redoing that cycle over and over.
Mixing and mixing.
Oh my God.
You're
man.
just constantly trying to ride a wave.
Yes.
Like, it's just
up and down, and then it's leaving your system and it's coming back in and you're enjoying that.
Like if you were a painter and you're mixing colors, it's like, okay, it's a little bit brown now, but I want to make it a little lighter.
Yeah.
Oh, now it's too light.
Yeah. Oh man. And it's not conducive to living a normal life and to like having normal relationships with people around you.
The press reported that it was possibly a speedball that killed him, which
always
is coke and heroin.
Yeah.
Where was John Frusciante?
Yeah. Yeah. Was it a drink this time?
Yeah.
Guess someone gave him a drink at the bar.
Well, the speedball killed John Belushi, obviously.
Yes.
And maybe
River Phoenix.
And maybe Chris Farley?
Possibly Chris Farley.
Yeah, possibly Chris Farley.
But the coroner's report states that it's unknown how the drugs were taken. So was it the quality? Because in early 2014, there were multiple cases on the East Coast of heroin being mixed with fentanyl.
Starting back then.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Because now it's really out of control.
Now it's rampant. Yeah, there's like comedians dying of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The tainted drugs caused multiple deaths at that time.
Yeah.
However, the bags from Hoffman's apartment were sent in for testing and came up negative for fentanyl.
Wow.
So he did not have the tainted heroin. It was regular street heroin.
Was it street? Was it like that? Was the consistency that bad? Like, was it?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
No. So what caused his death? Acute mixed drug intoxication. Vyvanse was found in the apartment, and that's an amphetamine that's used to treat ADHD, which he didn't suffer from.
Yeah. It's legal cocaine, pretty much.
And it's also an appetite suppressant. And based on the photos and his final meals, he wasn't exactly losing weight.
Yeah, he wasn't using
Wasn't the picture of
that
health.
much. Yeah.
And same with the benzos for treating alcohol dependence. He was spotted drinking heavily at the Atlanta bar, so clearly he wasn't using the benzos to treat his alcohol.
No.
So the conclusion is that he was using all these drugs merely to get high.
Yeah.
Which is incredibly dangerous.
Well, that's a very American way of being. Like, yeah, I'm okay because I'm getting all these prescriptions. I'm taking them. And
Elvis thought that it was okay because they
Yeah.
were prescribed by a doctor. He didn't think he was a drug addict.
Yeah.
What he's got going on here are a bunch of powerful stimulants and depressants, which ended up working in combination to stop either his brain or his heart.
Yeah.
And whatever it was, it happened extremely fast, almost instantly. Hence the needle in his arm.
Yeah.
There was no time to get help or even remove the needle. Because if I was dying and I saw the needle there, I'd be like, fuck, I'd like throw it off.
Yeah, of
So
course.
it doesn't look so bad.
Yeah. But he was used to hiding all of this the drug use and stuff. But it's hard. He can't do it anymore.
When you're that into it, that far gone, there's no hiding it.
And he's hiding amongst these kind of more upper crust people that are, into the arts, that are living in, the epicenter of Manhattan there,
Yeah.
which is like where people go to once they've made it.
2 days later, the cops raided the apartment of musician Robert Weinberg in Little Italy, and they found 300 bags of heroin stashed away. And they had labels that matched those of Hoffman's,
Yeah.
the Ace of Spades.
I heard about this. There was a drug delivery system
Mhm.
that was going around Manhattan.
And 2 others were also arrested. Weinberg confessed that he did sell drugs to Hoffman sometimes. He claimed they were friends and that he was just a scapegoat.
Oh, they're all buddies. Yeah.
Yeah. They would talk about the arts together.
Good pals.
Yeah.
This guy that got arrested, Weinberg, he looks like the Reverend Bob Levy.
I thought the same
He does.
thing.
He looks like someone.
That is,
For a second, I'm like, Bob Levy provided heroin to Hoffman?
He does look like
him,
it.
dude.
But for some reason, I like the other guy better than Bob Levy.
He's funnier. He's more successful.
He's better at roasts.
And get this, the arresting officer forgot to read Weinberg his Miranda rights.
Ooh.
So he ultimately pleaded guilty to a lesser drug charge and received 5 years probation.
Wow. Can't catch me, coppa.
And that's not the only controversy. The National Enquirer published a supposed interview with Hoffman's friend David Barr Katz, the one who discovered him,
Oh, this is insane.
in which Katz claimed that he and Hoffman were, quote, homosexual lovers. He also said he saw him freebasing cocaine the night before he died.
Oh, my God.
Only problem is, Katz never spoke to the tabloid. It was a complete fabrication. So Katz ended up suing the National Enquirer for $50 million. And the Enquirer ended up settling for an undisclosed amount with him. And they issued a full-page retraction/apology in the New York Times.
Crazy.
The writers said they were duped by a very convincing performance from a guy claiming to be Katz.
Oh, my God. Wait, so the New York Times printed this?
The National Enquirer did.
Oh, okay.
But then after the National Enquirer settled the lawsuit with David Barr Katz, they issued an apology in the New York Times.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love when another media is like, hey, we're going to use the actual media now.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Not in our own editorial or anything.
Yeah.
Our own op-ed, because no one's going to believe any of that anyway.
We're going to use a reputable source for this one.
Yeah.
Not us.
Well, the National Enquirer, obviously, my mom would take that as legitimate, journalism. But
if you want to know if Kirstie Alley was fat again, it was very reliable.
Mariska Hargitay's new alien baby.
Yeah.
Or John Edwards' affair.
Yeah, exactly.
Other than that, though.
But Trump thought it was like a very reputable source.
Oh, well, it was bought by some other people and they endorsed Trump
Yeah.
during the election.
That's when
That's
when it really went downhill.
Yeah, this retracts and that was nothing.
Yeah.
So David Barr Katz, who has a wife actually and kids,
My wife.
wasn't gay. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but the part he resented was that he would have said that he witnessed, the freebasing cocaine.
Yeah.
And he used the money from the settlement to start the American Playwriting Foundation in honor of Hoffman.
Nice.
Since 2015, it has offered annual grants to new American plays, and they call it the Relentless Award because Hoffman was always in a relentless search for the truth in his art.
Well
So
put.
that's a nice thing.
Yeah.
Very nice.
By the way, that Enquirer story ran a couple days after the death. I mean, it was really inappropriate.
Yeah,
A
it's
tender moment.
It's so crazy how quickly that controversy happened, and it's literally like 2 or 3 days later the drug dealers are actually in court. Like it just all happened so fast.
And the people that gathered around the apartment when word spread, it was a huge thing. Let's not forget, it was Super Bowl Sunday, New York City.
Yeah.
The city was abuzz that weekend. The Howard Stern 60th birthday bash had taken place on Friday,
Yeah.
which took advantage of the Super Bowl crowd. Like all the celebrities, like Harvey Weinstein were there. No joke. He was.
No,
like,
I'm sure he was like front and center.
The city was like in shock hearing this.
Yeah.
So it was huge news. So in some ways, I could see like where they have to fast track these things, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so crazy. He died on the day of the Super Bowl in the city that the Super Bowl's happening in.
Yeah.
Like, that's
and
just
not
nuts.
that the Jets were in it, but it is the stadium, and he was a lifelong Jets fan.
Yeah.
You know, he probably would have been into the Super Bowl. And in fact, he had texted David Barkatz the night before his death after the bar saying, hey,
Do you want to kiss me?
Oh my God. Okay.
I'm touching myself. What are you doing? No, it's saying, hey, you want to watch the game tomorrow? You know, trying to make plans. And when Katz texted back, there was no response.
Oof.
On February 5th, 2014, 3 days later, the lights on Broadway dimmed and a candlelit vigil was held outside the Labyrinth Theater.
It takes a lot for them to do that. They don't do that just for anyone.
Right.
Yeah, they're not doing it for Andy Dick.
No.
Did he appear on Broadway?
Why would they ever
Inspector
do
Gadget, the musical?
What a weird thing to say.
Yeah, of all the references, you know what I mean?
Why Andy Dick?
Eric Bogosian read a eulogy at the vigil.
Yeah.
It was probably just one of his plays
Yeah,
recycled.
he just did a one man play during it.
He hands out like flyers, like if you want to see more of this.
Yeah. It's off Broadway. I'm hoping to get a better slot though.
And let's talk about the Hunger Games finale for a second. The final two movies, which they did that annoying thing where they split it into part 1 and part 2.
Yeah.
Mockingjay part 1 came out in 2014, later on, like November or something. And then a year after that, Mockingjay part 2. Both of them obviously released posthumously. And that was Mockingjay part 2 is the one where Phil Hoffman would have had to, he had plans to return to Atlanta and do another week of shooting.
Yeah.
Most of his work had been completed except for one important scene between him and star Jennifer Lawrence. Director Francis Lawrence, no relation to his star,
No.
brainstormed with the cast and crew, like, how do we handle this? They ultimately decided to have co-star Woody Harrelson read Hoffman's dialogue to Lawrence's character in the form of a letter. And in other scenes towards the end of the movie, they inserted existing footage of Hoffman in order to make his presence felt, but did not use any CGI, like they did with Paul Walker.
Or Sopranos, where they put the mom in there. Remember that?
Yeah, that was grotesque.
That was ridiculous.
Jesus. Yeah, the early CGI. That made the Rock in the Scorpion King
Yeah.
look like Star Wars.
But like it's Mockingbird. It's like, who cares? It's a
I
dumb
know.
trilogy
I know.
anyway.
I thought it was called Mockingbird for a while. Then I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it's Mockingjay.
Who cares? I call it
And
Mockingbird.
it is a bird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bird. The bird is the word.
Bird is the word.
And let's not forget that Jennifer Lawrence claims she was the first action star with those movies. First female action star.
Yeah.
I guess she forgot about Sigourney Weaver and Alien.
There's so
Linda
many,
Hamilton and
so many-
Terminator.
there's so many things in that don't interest me at all.
I know. But she was lampooned recently for saying
I remember her saying that. She says a lot of wild things.
Well,
She's
yeah.
wild.
That one in particular got people's goat. Other posthumous releases, God's Pocket in 2014, which
Out of
was
pocket.
his last completed film role. He had planned to direct a movie called Ezekiel Moss with Amy Adams and Jake Gyllenhaal. It was going to be a Depression-era ghost story.
I got no money.
I do declare there is a ghost in that house.
I'm bored.
And he was involved in the show Happy-ish on Showtime. He was producing it and was signed on to star in it.
Wait, who was in that? Was that Jim Carrey?
I'm going to go over it right now. John Cameron Mitchell directed Hoffman in the pilot, which was unaired. So Hoffman actually filmed the pilot for this thing.
Yeah.
And he played Tom, a cynical middle-aged ad exec. This was unearthed somewhat recently. John Cameron Mitchell shared it on Twitter with like a link to YouTube, since removed from YouTube, and I found it on some archive website.
Wow.
But this was
Deep dive here.
Yeah, unaired pilot of Happy-ish. And like I said, he's this ad exec. And in one scene at the office, they're talking about rebranding the Keebler Elves. And Hoffman is pissed off. He's old school. He's like, why do we have to rebrand the elves? And then this leads to a fantasy sequence, which you have to see to believe.
Okay.
What the hell are you doing?
46 fucking years I gave that company, and now they're going to fire me? Well, not if I kill us all first.
Oh my God.
What the fuck?
Oh no. Oh my.
Are they even allowed to do this?
Oh my.
Come on. It's okay.
It gets crazier.
Oh no. No.
What?
Oh my God.
What are you doing? Oh, I have waited so long.
Whoa!
What?
Oh, you like Mama's cookies, don't you, baby?
What the?
Any never.
Oh my.
Come on. This is not real, is it?
Oh, God, you're a fucking double stuffed. Fucking.
Oh my God.
And might I say that is a testament to his fearlessness as an actor that continued to his very last appearance on camera.
Still going after it.
Wow.
You know? Like, that is going for it. And what's interesting, the whole premise of the show, Happy-ish, am I happy enough? And that's something that Hoffman often said in his life. He would question, was he happy or just unaware?
Yeah.
And so in some ways, another poetic last project for him, you know, fucking the elf lady aside.
Yeah.
And the show continued with Steve Coogan replacing him.
I kind of
And
remember this.
it
Steve
lasted-
Coogan, anytime he goes into something, it's like he was good at like two things, but
And
after that,
And he's usually a scuzzball.
yeah, he's a scuzzball. And like we get it, he's British. Who cares?
And it lasted for one season on Showtime.
I
2015.
recall that. I'm like, oh, this sounds great, and then I watched it. I'm like, yeah, okay.
So you can see that same pilot with Steve Coogan, except they heavily toned down the sex scene.
So he's not fucking the
He
Keebler
starts
elf girl?
to a little bit, but she has a bra on.
Okay.
And it cuts away right away.
I mean, if they did that in that pilot, that would have got some eyeballs.
Oh,
like that would have
absolutely.
got people
Well-
that would have got people talking.
Yeah.
Plus Phil Hoffman.
Yeah.
And that shows that he was ready to start doing some good TV shows.
Well, because
Yeah.
this is the beginning of the golden age of television.
Yeah.
Again.
Breaking Bad had just finished, and
Yeah.
it was becoming more mainstream for famous A-list actors to
And he
do
can
it.
now become a lead in TV rather than just a background player.
Right.
And so now we're just left with,
That.
imagining what could have been
Yeah.
with the rest of his career, which we know would have been brilliant.
Of course.
2017, girlfriend Mimi O'Donnell, mother of his 3 children, published an essay in Vogue about her experience, the whole thing. She wrote that his addiction was bigger than both of them, and that although she loved him, she couldn't save him. Quote, I had been expecting him to die since the day he started using again. But when it finally happened, it hit me with brutal force. I wasn't prepared. There was no sense of peace or relief, just ferocious pain and overwhelming loss. End quote. Over the years, she and the kids finally got to a place where they could talk about him without crying. And so then she said after that point, they would all make an effort to talk about him all the time and keep his spirit alive.
Oh.
And to end here, the legacy lives on. Son Cooper Hoffman, born in 2003, made his acting debut in 2021's Licorice Pizza as charming, pimply-faced teenager Gary Valentine.
Nice.
Directed by Paul Thomas Anderson,
Of course.
close friend of Phil Hoffman.
Yep.
That must have been very emotional for him.
I heard Paul Thomas Anderson gave a great eulogy for Philip Seymour Hoffman when he passed away.
Oh,
so,
wow.
so this is actually a good addition to a send off, you know, of remembrance for him to have his son in this as a star, and his kind of one of his first roles, really.
His first role. Period.
Yeah. And like he's not doing Death of a Salesman, he's doing Licorice Pizza, which
Best Picture nominee.
I didn't know until recently that was like a chain of comic book stores that was on Ventura Boulevard up and down the valley. There's one in Studio City right now called Licorice Pizza.
Oh, wow.
It's a love letter to 1970s Los Angeles.
Yeah, it really is.
Once upon a time in Hollywood without Charles Manson.
Yeah, and Paul Thomas Anderson's love of Jewish gals growing up.
Yeah. Alana Haim.
Haim, yeah, from the band Haim, which is
and all the sisters are in it. It's a family affair.
Family affair.
It's
yeah.
a whole crew that, you know, kind of grew up together. And
Yeah,
P.T.
they're
Anderson.
from Encino, those girls.
Yeah, he said that he auditioned others at first, then thought of Cooper, who he realized he had been directing him in home movies on his iPhone, along with his son Jack, since they were toddlers.
Yeah.
A lot of like Mission Impossible type parody stuff.
Yeah.
And so it just clicked. In an AP interview, Cooper said, quote, "It felt almost like I was stepping into my dad's shoes. It really was this feeling of, maybe this is what he felt like. It was this weird out-of-body experience. I felt incredibly close to my dad through the whole shooting process." End quote. And critics called his performance authentic and star-making. He was nominated for the Golden Globe for Best Actor and won the National Board of Review Prize for Breakthrough Performance, which he shared with Alana. And, you know, it is very moving in that sense.
Yeah.
The movie, when you put it all together, it's like P.T. Anderson lost his best friend and frequent collaborator so tragically, and Cooper lost his dad so tragically, and for them to come together and continue this acting legacy.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked him in it. It was very, you know, it's just a crazy story that circles back around and is just like a coming of age story of these kids and stuff. And show business plays a big part in that, and like what it does to people, and like good or bad, and like, you know, people are just people when it, you know, at the end of the day and stuff. And yeah, I thought it was cool, and knowing both of them and growing up with both of their movies and stuff, it was kind of cool to see that happen.
Yeah. Final thoughts.
Oof. I mean, geez, what can you say? I think you mentioned it earlier. I think you could put his IMDb up against literally anybody. Just amazing characters all around.
Because some of his movies are my favorite movies, period.
Yeah.
No joke. Almost Famous. Punch Drunk Love. Before the Devil Knows You're Dead. Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
Well, they say there's no good movies anymore, no good movie stars, and that's true. And I think it's really hard. Maybe it's hard for actors these days to really compare to, you know, the character actors of the past or the movie stars of the past. And, you know, there's something to be said that they were just really great. And I think he was one of the last character actors kind of holding that torch of like greatness. And I think it's just like, you know, Jack Lemmon, you know, Walter Matthau, some of these people that are just like
interesting people.
Yeah, that
real,
really
raw.
add color to like a great film like that. And you just, they're not growing on trees anymore.
And unconventional.
Yeah. And out there. Yeah. And just knowing that I think just, you know, the acting teachers aren't out there anymore. That, you know, like a lot of the major acting studios are gone. You know, UCB's done, not to say that they're creating someone like Philip Seymour Hoffman, but you just don't, and if they are still open, they're impossible to get into. Like a guy like Philip Seymour Hoffman would never, without any connections in Hollywood or anything, or Broadway, would never be able to get into a really good acting school these days.
Yeah.
That he was able to get in probably in the 80s and stuff. It's very different. It's bad.
And
it's like,
yeah. And he got to a point in his career where he could literally do anything and people would follow.
Yeah.
Including having sex with a cartoon elf woman. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, not everyone can get away with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
If Coogan did that, they'd be like, get this Brit out of America now. Like we did Chaplin.
Well, it only lasted one season with Coogan.
Yeah. But yeah, very sad.
Sad, but also it is fun to go back and rewatch that stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And who knew? I could have known him at like when he was 19 years old or something, or 20 or something.
Crazy.
And I was like 7 years old.
R.I.P. Philip
Yes.
Seymour Hoffman.
Absolutely.
And your friend from camp who had the sweat stain.
Yeah, that guy,
geez.
Dennis. Yeah.
Dennis.
And Ted Demme again, because I forgot to mention that Punch Drunk Love was dedicated to him. I didn't realize.
After he passed away, that's right.
Yep.
And Jonathan Demme, his uncle, huge influence on Paul Thomas
Of
Anderson.
course, big time. Yeah.
Okay, do we have any other business to take care of?
Yes, we have some new reviews that came in, or comments. Tim Loss talking about the Brian Lawler WWE star episode. He said, the episode is full of royalty. King of music, king of wrestling, and king of DUIs. It's like if Game of Thrones was set in a trailer park, which is hilarious. On Apple, iTunes, IC Reyes 1 said, hooked. Hello. I listened to one. There's multiple O's. Yeah. I listened to one episode and was hooked. Funny and informative podcast on celebrity deaths. So thank you, IC Reyes 1.
And I got one on Instagram from I think it was the Lawler episode. From My Name is Ums as the username. My name is Ums. Fantastic episode in such a dubious case, which is very accurate.
Indeed.
Thank you so much. And of course, as always, Samantha Morris, who we love. I was nosy and looked up pictures of him on Brian's grave. It says he was a Steelers fan. Now I like the Ravens, but I'm not Tombstone committed.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Thank you, Sam.
Yep. Thank you, Sam. And if anybody else wants to go on to iTunes or YouTube, leave a comment, leave a review. Spotify. You know what it is.
We're
Come
all
on.
over the place.
We need reviews.
Please.
We'll read them. We love you. YouTube, we passed over 3,000 subscribers now.
Yeah,
which is good.
We're going to 4 now, and we've got a ton on Instagram. People love us on there, and in TikTok, we're borderline influencers now.
We're on our way to 7,000.
We're gonna start a hype house over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we are becoming somewhat of a gatekeeper.
Yeah.
For celebrity tributes.
It seems like it. Yeah, people are looking to us for those updates. And so send us an email, as always, at deathandentertainment@gmail.com. Feel free to say whatever you want to us. Any suggestions, we will take it.
Speaking of suggestions, I believe Jay Rising suggested Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh, shout out to Jay Rising.
Actually, a bunch of other people. I think Ashley did too.
Ashley? Okay.
Yeah, we had multiple requests for this episode.
This was a big one, yeah.
And famously, my good friend Ben, I remember he called me Super Bowl Sunday 2014, and we were shooting the shit, and then he said, "Did you hear about Philip Seymour Hoffman?" And I was like, "No, what?" He was so excited to tell me.
Oh, man.
He hit the jackpot.
Some people like telling bad news like that.
The death pigeon.
Which I guess we do too. You know, we are the purveyors of bad news, and that's how we're going to do it. So until next week, guys, let us know any hate or any fun you want to tell us by email. And until next week, don't go dying on us, I guess.
Yeah.
Goodbye. This is Truman Capote. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
You have just heard
A true Hollywood murder mystery.
I have never seen anything like this before.
The movies, Broadway, music, television, all of it.
A place that manufactures nightmares.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap.
Good night. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon.